Air travel would have seemed very strange 2,000 or 3,000 years ago to men keeping their sheep on the mountainsides. All these changes are the outcome of the great step taken in the invention of numbers. Before men could count, how did anyone know which were his sheep and which were another man's? He put his mark on the sheep. He was their owner. They were his own sheep. He owned them. Sometimes he gave his sheep names, and then he would go through all the names with his sheep to see if they were all there. Before the invention of writing, how did people keep records? They made pictures on soft earth or sand, but rain and wind and waves quickly washed away such records. Smooth stone or wood was better, and best of all, the smooth stone walls of caves whose roofs kept the rain and wind away. It may be that the drawings copied on page 142, or others like them, were records made by early humans. Someone recording animals on a cave wall may have taken pleasure in the drawing for itself and become the first artist. How did a man know how many sheep he owned? Sometimes he used small stones or sticks, putting one of them into a bag or pocket for each sheep he had. When he came to the end of his sheep, the number of stones in the bag was the same as the number of his sheep. The stones in the sheep were equal in number. The stones gave him a record of how many sheep he owned. When a sheep died, he could take a stone out of the bag. And when the lambs were born, he could put in another stone for each lamb. Sometimes a record was made by taking a sharp, hard stone and making cuts on a stick. The number of cuts in the stick equaled the number of things to be recorded. Then the stick was cut in half down the middle, so that each half had half of every cut on it. The two half sticks were tallies. If they were put side by side, the halves of the cuts came together. They tallied. One man took one tally, and another the other, and both then had the record. Tallies are some of the earliest and simplest records of the numbers of things. They tell how many things have been counted. Even today in a bank, a person who takes money in and gives it out is sometimes named a teller. The shelf or table where the teller works is a counter. On it, the teller does the counting of the money coming in and going out and keeps a record of all this in an account book. A person who makes a statement tells something. Most banks make a statement every month to each person banking with them to tell them what their account is. The statements tell them how much money they have in the bank at that date. Then, both they and the bank have the record straight. To get these statements ready, the banker has to take the amount of money given out from the amount of money put in. Bank tellers must keep a complete record of the money they take in and give out. This is their way of making certain that their accounts are in order. Banking is a very important sort of business. A bank must keep all its accounts in good order, and the statements which the bank makes must be true statements. How do we know whether someone is telling the truth? If a man tells another that he will give him 3 bags of grain for 1 sheep, the other will know whether he told the truth when he gets the grain or doesn't. The man may or may not have meant to give the grain when he said he would. He may not have meant to say anything but the truth, but if he did not give the grain later, He was not true to his word. We sometimes know whether a man is telling the truth by the look in his eye or the sound of his voice. In early times, before people invented money, they did all their business by exchange of goods. People traded with others by exchanging goods they were willing to give up for goods they wanted more. Exchange of things still goes on in some parts of the world today. After the invention of money, trade increased. It is our experience that money can be a great help in making trade easier and in keeping business in better order. If you want something and have the money for it, you can buy it. You do not have to keep asking yourself whether you have something which the other person will be willing to take in exchange for what you want. Early people did things with their hands which we do with instruments or by machine. Fingers were made before forks. Among their early uses, fingers made good counters. We still use the number 10 as the key to our number system because we have 10 fingers. Many people today still count on their fingers, and others use an abacus. An abacus is a frame with little balls threaded on wires. The balls are pushed from side to side on the wires. The invention of the abacus made it possible for the balls on one wire to represent the numbers up to 10. On the next wire, tens up to 100, the next, hundreds, and so on. The most important number in the number system used commonly today is 0. 0 is so easy to use that it is hard to understand why it was not invented long ago. It is thought to be not much more than 1,000 years old, and no one knows who invented it. We use zeros to change numbers to others. 0 to the right of a number makes it 10 times its size. 2 zeros make it 100 times its size. 6 zeros after 1 make it mean 1 million. Schools today teach a child to add, subtract, multiply, and divide numbers. Here are examples.